Happy Friday, everyone. JT here. Welcome to our weekly conversation called The Huddle. The Huddle is where I sit down and have conversations with other successful people, other high performers from the world of sport and coaching. Why? It's all in the interest to really ask them questions, to learn from their journey to greatness. And it's all about to learn from each other. And the other reason is simply success always leaves clues. So, first and foremost, as I like to start off every week, I just wanted to thank you for choosing to invest your time and energy to join us here in the huddle today. Today, I am super enthused. I have a conversation that I've been wanting to have. This young man and I have had a great time reconnecting over the last few years, and we've really come together because we have a mutual desire to really want to help. We want to inspire, and we want to empower others to become the greatest versions of themselves. So thank you for joining us today. You're going to get a lot from this conversation. And yeah, so I'm happy to welcome Noah Johns into the huddle today. Thanks for joining us today, Noah.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I've been looking for this too.
Yeah, okay. So Noah, for those that don't know you, and again, based on our background of both living in London, our similar past of high school football in London, we've known each other, right, for a few years now. But it's really been in the last couple years where we've really connected. It's been interesting for me because I've got to know you more since we've both kind of transitioned away from London high school football, right? So again, super enthused to share your story. So what I would love to do and what I would love for you to share with everyone is to get to know you a little bit, Noah. Sport has obviously played an important role in your life. What was it about sport that really hooked you, early on?
I think it was just the competitive drive that I had in me that really made sport such an important part of my life. I think that just the teamwork and the connection between all those South players, just like Lucas had, it was just amazing. Like we were a family. And then it was just also an outlet in life, just like working out, just like boxing, any of those sports, it's an outlet. Like whenever you're stressed out or you just can't, you need a way to get out of reality. That sport's always there for you, and you just lay back on that.
And I love that. And what I'm really hearing from you is there's two things that I heard from you. The first one is connection, right? Is how has sport helped you build connection? Like you mentioned, it was, it sounded like when you were at South, it was a family, right? Like being around the boys, the coaches, and the community. It was like family to you. I'd love to hear more about what you were just sharing there.
So even like the connection that we have right now, I wouldn't have had that without sport, without us playing football against each other. Even though it was a competitive side to us, because we talked about that before, like we're good friends now, and but even with my coaches, I still talk to them every week, and they're still mentors to me. And my coach, Coach Stenning, he's pretty much like a second father to me. I ask him whenever I need advice. If he ever needs me, I'm always here for him. But these are people that you remember in this small amount of time, but they make such an impact on your life. Like it's only 4 years, but you're gonna remember them for your whole life. I think that's what makes it so impactful. And the teammates I had as well. I'm still a friend. I'm best friends with the quarterback at the time. He's at Queens now, Ethan. but we still talk every day. We check up on each other. No matter what, I know that I can count on him, and I know that he can count on me. Just like on the football field, he can count on me to catch that ball, and I can count on him to make a good throw.
I love that. Right. No, and I love that you share sort of the human side of sport, right? And sports is simply the platform, right? Where we build connection with other humans. And it's interesting that you share about how Coach Stenning was like a second father to you. And again, I've known Coach Stenning for a long time, coaching against him for a long time. So it's great to hear that he's been in that role and he still is an important person in your life. It's interesting that you say that because this week I actually had a conversation with my high school coach, and I'm a little bit further removed, right? It's been my high school coach, geez, over 20 years ago, and it's funny how I still I'm a grown man and I was still referring to him as coach, right? Like there's not many people, but here we are, over 20 years later, and I said, hey, coach, how you doing, right? Okay.
I think it's just like a respect thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like once you call him coach, you always call him coach. I have a coach that he's my neighbor and his son's my best friend as well. He was my head coach when I was 7. I still call him coach. Like it's ridiculous how much that one sport or that one season has an impact on the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree, right? It's that respect thing, right? And that habit, right? It's that universal sign of respect that, it's been there. I get it too. I still have, students that are 30 years old, former students, and they still refer to me as Mr. Right? They'll say that, hey, Mr. Sui, I'm like, you're 30 years old, you're a parent now, and you're married. We can shift to JP, but that's a story for another day. The other thing you mentioned was sport really provided you with an outlet. I'd love to sort of hear, how was sport an outlet for you?
Well, it's not like I was a receiver. I wasn't hitting anybody. I wasn't getting any anger out. So it's more of just building that adrenaline and feeling something else and getting that escape from reality. Because when I was on the football field, I saw nothing but the football field. Nothing else mattered. Not my problems in life, not what was at school or what test I had the next day. It's probably bad, but it was just a football field, and that's all that it was. It was an outlet and it was an escape. Those are kind of the same thing, but
yeah,
it just made me feel alive. It made me feel like I was like. Now that I don't have football in my life, I realize that I'm missing something, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I've had that time where I use it as an outlet, but then once you grow up, you find different outlets and different people to lean on. I think that's what makes life so special, is that, everybody every day is always changing no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that you share that, right? And I love that you said, like, when I stepped on the football field, nothing else mattered, right? Everything else faded away. It didn't matter what was going on in school. It didn't matter, what was going on at work or social media or anything like that. And what I heard from you is purpose, right? Was when you're on the field, there's a definite purpose, right? Which was one for you to, do whatever you were supposed to do in a given play, right? Which was going to help put the offense or the defense in a position to be successful, and ultimately leading to helping your teams, right, win the game, right, and to put them in a position to win. Okay, that's great. So let's go forward a little bit. So you had success at South. I mean, by far, being in the London football community for 20 years. I mean, your run at South was, and the last few years of your high school was the expense of, you guys giving us a nice ass kicking, which is, it's all good. I mean, you guys are the better team, no doubt. But fast forward, right? You're successful at South, have a great high school career. You're an important member of a Team Ontario, so you've played at a high level. And then you go to Guelph and again see the field, and then everything sort of something happens, right? So I'd love to sort of get caught up with you on, your story and how a decision sort of changed sort of your path.
Yeah, so I was at Guelph. I was still in my first year. I only dressed 2 games, an exhibition versus Laval, and then the homecoming game versus Queens. And then it was good. Like, I was staying in shape. I felt good. Felt good going in my second year. But then everything changed. And so I was at a party, a couple of my friends. It was a football party. It was only the people in the first year. And then this guy comes out. And then there was some altercation. Everybody was intoxicated. And then he pushed me, and then instead of pushing him back or walking away, I used my fist. And then unfortunately, his head hit the concrete on the way down. And then that forced him to go in a coma for a couple of days. And then the next day, I was arrested with aggravated assault. So it was not expected from that, to say the least. I did not know my life was going to turn around by one decision. It was hard. It was definitely really hard to see everything get taken away from me just because of one decision. The next day, I talked to Coach. I told him everything that happened. And then Coach Shahan, he still coaches there. He was really supportive, and he was really helpful, as well as the athletic director, Scott McRoberts. He's helped me through it, and he still checks up every now and then. So I talked to him, and I also talked to Flug, a retired police officer. He gave me advice. He said, "You just got to turn yourself in. Like, they know it's you." So then I talked to Coach. Coach already knew about it because Flug talked to him. And then I was bawling my eyes out. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know that my life changed so fast. And then Coach was like, everything's going to be okay. He even walked me to the police station. And then this is where I thought it got crazy, because I thought I was just going to get like a charge. I thought it was going to be done and over with. He walked me to the campus police station. And then we go inside, and he's like, "Coach, you need to stay outside." I'm like, "Oh my God, like, this is crazy. What is going on?" And then we walk in, and he says, "Noah Johns, you're being arrested for aggravated assault. You'll be transported to the Guelph police station, the actual police station, so campus police. And he said, you'll get one call to your lawyer." And then that was it. And then they had front cuff me. The coach came in. I was like, "Coach, I'm being arrested. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for anything of this to happen." And then he said, "I know, like, everything's going to be okay." Went to the police station. It is exactly like it is in the movies, the whole thing. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a concrete bed, steel toilet, steel sink. That's it. And it was traumatizing just sitting in that cell it was only for 4 to 5 hours, because they didn't want to hold me that long, because I had no past. I was a good kid. I was well known in the community. I was well respected. So they didn't really have any reason to hold me longer than that. But when I was in there, I was just sitting there, laying down, no blankets, just on my concrete bed. And I used to have nightmares about laying in that bed and just realizing, like, how much I messed up. I could have walked away from that situation. I could have been the bigger man and just walked away. Although it was I was somewhat defending myself, it wasn't the right decision, no matter what. It's not worth it to throw away your whole life just to be some macho guy for one night. My mom picked me up. went home, lost my scholarship, was kicked out of residence, so I had to commute for each exam because it was right at the end of the school year. I had to move home, so now I'm at Western. I'm a third-year student at Western, and yeah, it was very depressing to say the least. I was in my bed crying for days. I didn't eat. I didn't really sleep because every time I slept, I just dreamt about being in that bed again. It was hard. It was really hard. And then just giving away that sport, it took a toll on me. And I think it made me make some bad decisions and also push away some people in my life that I really loved, even though I didn't mean to. But yeah, so that's kind of my, it's a long story, but yeah.
Well, first and foremost, Noah, like I acknowledge you for being so vulnerable and sharing, sort of, I mean, I know you and I have talked away from here and, just hearing that, you could really sense, what I really sensed from you was the responsibility that you took right away. Like, anyone listening knows that the result wasn't what you wanted, but when you were sharing, I never heard any blame come. Like it really speaks volumes about who you are, your character, your integrity that, I made not a great decision. And, it sounds like you really took responsibility, like very quickly. Is what now I want to move forward from that. What was the lesson that you learned? So obviously, you went through a difficult situation, right? A lot of like, what has been the biggest lesson through all of the things that you went through in that process?
Probably life, is too delicate to take for granted. Because it is, you never know when somebody is going to die. You never know when your life could change forever. You could win the lottery the next day and you don't, this could be your last day in that house. You could buy a new house tomorrow. Your house could, it's bad, but your house could get, I don't know, I'm not saying your house is going to go on fire, but it could go on fire. But you have to realize what you have in your life right now, and you have to live every moment the way it is, because you don't know that it's ever going to be the same. You have to tell the people that are around you that you love them and you support them every day. And, I think that's what I learned, because I didn't know that that was going to be my last day as a Guelph Griffin. I didn't know that was going to be my last day playing for a university football team. Mm-hmm. And I think, I took some stuff for granted. I think my ego was too big at that time to walk away from that fight.
It sounds like this sense of gratitude and love really has, for better lack of term, has filled your life, right? Has filled your heart. Like, would you say that whole situation has made you more grateful, more appreciative, and really stopping, like being able to better sort of like stop and smell the roses?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Because it just makes you realize what you really have in life. And, I wouldn't say that I got lucky from the final outcome. I did what I needed to do to make myself a better person. I worked to become who I am today. Mm-hmm. I don't think I got lucky in any way.
No, I agree.
I'm where I am, where I need to be right now in life.
Yeah. Well, I would say that situation, I would say your ability to take responsibility, right? And to make a decision that I'm moving forward, I'm growing, I'm learning from this. is why you're here today, right? Like there are a lot of people that would go through the same thing and would find themselves in a completely different, you know, space, right? Like a lot, it'd be easy to blame and, you know, say it was this person's fault and, you know, this person didn't help me, you know, and, but you've taken responsibility, and that's why you're still like here and why you're doing the things that you're doing right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. So I'd love to again jump a little bit further and come back to how we actually connected. So one of the ways that we connected was I remember you posted something on Facebook and you're like, hey, I want to do this project for Bell Let's Talk Day, and let me know if what your thoughts are. So yeah, I'd love for you to share with people kind of how you are choosing now to really support and help people with, you know, their mental wellness and their well-being and their growth. So I'd love to hear more about these, if you could share.
So yeah, there was just this one day where I woke up and realized I can't let this take over me. I can't let this define who I am. And I decided to use my story as an inspiration to others so that nobody would go through what I went through. Nobody deserves to go through what I went through. And it's sad to see the people that do, and they do it in silence. So I think that's the main purpose of what I do, is trying to give all of these other people a voice, even though they think they don't have one, they do. And that's the most frustrating part. So when I reached out to you, I had this idea, why don't I create, because I didn't see anybody else do it at the time. I was like, why don't I create a video of all these people in Ontario and get them to share their stories and, you know, make an impact on somebody else's life. I was like, okay, you know, it might not get that many views. Who cares? If it sees one or two people, then we made a difference on one or two people's lives. So we did that. We got about, I think it was 14, 15 people. Video ended up to be 12 minutes long. We released it on Bell Let's Talk Day 2020, the first one. Yep. And it was pretty good. It got, I think it was like around 15,000 on Facebook, 7,000 on Instagram. And we were like, oh, everybody was shocked with their response. Like, we didn't expect that much love from everybody, because mental health is such like a delicate topic to talk about that nobody wants to talk about it. You try to talk to like suicide or mental health with any of your friends, they're gonna be like, no man, like stop. We don't want to hear about that stuff right now, because they don't like those deep thoughts. But like, if you find those people that you can actually talk about your feelings with, then see how much your life changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I got into that, and I was like, that's when when the court case was resolving. So I did that, and then I thought that the court case was going to be resolved right after that.
Yeah.
But then it kept getting delayed because of COVID, and it went on and on and on. So then that's when I was really struggling with my mental health. It was just a lot of late nights drinking, blah, blah, blah. But then it got resolved in December. So then I was like, huge weight lift off my shoulders. And I was like, boom, baby, back in time for Bell Let's Talk Day. Let's do it again. So this year we got, I think it was 8 or 9 people from over Ontario, and got over 23,000 views on Instagram. And I think only 5 on Facebook. I don't know what's going on with Facebook now, but it was crazy. And then all these people are reaching. Bell Let's Talk reposted it. We're getting that, like, we're getting national recognition from the organization that we meant to do this for. And that's crazy. Yeah. And then all these people are like, thank you for giving me this voice. I'm like, no, you had this voice in you this whole time. Like, use your platform to preach about what you want to talk about. I think that's, you know, that's what we gotta do. We gotta just raise these voices up as much as we can. But yeah.
Okay. You know what I love about it is one is seeing you have this an idea, right? Like literally, I remember the post sitting in my living room, seeing you post. I'm like, oh, I like this. Noah's like, no, like it's Noah's doing something different. So that's why like I reached out to you, was like, I want to support Noah, like, and do that. And just seeing the momentum grow, right? Where you're using the platform. And what I love about what you said was, you have an opportunity, all of us do, through your social media, to share your voice, to share your message. And I love that you're sharing a message of positivity, of awareness, of inspiration, and really empowering people. And why that's so important, Noah, is you can, everyone, people often like demonize social media technology. Oh, it's like, it's like something terrible. Yeah, like, you know what, if you're on there bitching and complaining about the world and you know talking shit about people and doing all this stuff, then yeah, it's useless. You're not using your platform. But I love how you are using this as a platform to share a message, share a message that sounds like you wish you had, right? Where you, when you were struggling. And it's amazing that you're choosing to foster the right message. I just want to acknowledge you for that.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Okay. So what has been the biggest, like what has been the lesson? So as you've seen this, idea for a Bell Let's Talk video grow into, now people are reaching out to you, Bell Let's Talk is sharing it. Like, what has been the biggest lesson for you in terms of your growth?
I think I was so at Guelph, I was trying to fit in, but I didn't realize that we were all born to stand out. I think a lot of people try to do that. They try so hard to fit into these popular groups, the one with the most followers, the one with the most likes. But why can't you make a name for yourself? Why do you have to be in these groups to validate yourself? Why can't you do what you love and preach about it whenever you want? Like it's sad to see how many people can't reach their full potential because they're so stuck in this stigma that they can't go any further. But in reality, you can really do whatever you want if you just put your mind to it. Mm-hmm. And I know people say that all the time. You can do whatever you want. You can be whoever you want. You can be an astronaut. But you really could. Like when people say, I don't have time to do it. And I talked to you about this before. I hate that saying, I don't have time, because you do have time. You just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Like that's the reality. You don't want to do it. You're too lazy. And, some people aren't, they aren't out of that little bubble yet. They don't realize that, like I'm too tired. Watch a video. Watch like a motivational video. See how that changes your mind. Watch whatever you love. Watch if you play football. Watch a football hype up video. Be like, oh man, I can do this. I can go out there and I can work out and I can become a better me. Because if everybody needs to become the best me that they can be, and everybody needs to lift each other up, and we need to work as a team.
Oh, I love that. I love how, like you said, it's one thing that always comes up. I love that you shared is something my mentor, Bob Proctor, taught me is you can't manage time. You can only manage your activities. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, like you were alluding to. But what are you choosing to invest your time and energy into? Right? Like what are you doing there? And I love that you said the idea that sounds like you've made the decision that greatness is your choice, right? Like I'm going to push myself to grow, to learn something every day, and push myself to get uncomfortable. Okay. So tell me what is a non-negotiable for you? Like, is there something that you do every day that I do it because it makes me feel good, so I can really push myself to be the best version of myself?
I try to listen to motivational speeches every day. I know it's not for everybody. Everybody has their thing, but I try to do that even if I'm like stuck in bed or I can't get in bed, I just put a motivational speech on and get up. That really helps me. Making my bed every day, because when you want to come home after a long day, you want to see that bed made, and it will make you feel better instead of everything messed up. And then just breathing, really. I know it's a lot of people say just breathe, it's gonna be okay, just breathe. it's repetitive, but it's true, because if you get frustrated and everything's stuck in your head all the time, you just can't handle life, then you need to just relax, take a step back, look at the bigger picture, look at why you're doing what you're doing, and just take a breath.
Yeah. Power of the breath, eh? I love that. So here's a question that I would love to know from you, Noah. So obviously, all of us from time to time will experience challenges and obstacles and unforeseen circumstances, right? And shit pops up, right? Just that, right? From time to time. Not that we expect it, but it's life, right? Life throws us curveballs sometimes. What would you say to that person right now that maybe they are really struggling to, maybe they've gained a little bit of weight in this COVID because they're just not feeling very good. Maybe they are going through a relationship breakdown. Maybe they've lost their job, and maybe money's like, it's just not there, and just like maybe they're just struggling. What would you tell them is one thing they can do to just get sort of the momentum going, to get them back on their feet, to just, even taking one step forward today?
Well, I think when these obstacles happen, a lot of people ask, why me? And I think the question that they should ask is, why not me? Why can't I be the one to come out of this stronger than ever?
Mm.
Why can't I be the one to come out on the other side and be a completely new person? Why can't I be the one to use my story as an inspiration to others? And you want to be, and then you have to get into what you want to be remembered for. Do you want to just be remembered as an athlete? The same thing went for Inky Johnson. He put his whole life into football, and then he got hurt. And then he used his story as a motivation, because he was paralyzed from the arm down. He couldn't play football anymore. He was going to be a top 5 draft pick. He couldn't use his story anymore, but he used he couldn't play his sport anymore,
Mm-hmm.
but he used his story as an inspiration to inspire others. He realized that he needs the game of football is bigger than life itself. You need to realize, what do people want to say at your funeral? This guy was an amazing athlete. He hit like a truck, blah, 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 blah. This guy, do you want people to say, this guy changed lives? This guy made me a better person. This guy made me want to get up out of bed every day and become the best me that I can be. What do you want to be remembered for in the end?
What I'm hearing from you, Noah, is like, it's bigger than you, right? It's about impact. It's about helping. It's about being of service to others. And like you talked about, it's lifting, it's lifting all ships that are in the harbor, right? Okay. So what I would love for you to share is, I know you're working right now on something we've been chatting. So I'd love for you to share about something that you're looking to, grow in the next little bit.
Yeah. So me and Emily Sluice are working on this little project we got going. She's done some work in SAM High, Student Athlete Mental Health Initiative. I think she was a co-exec, I'm pretty sure. I don't want to speak for her and mess anything up. She might get mad at me. But yeah, so she's done some work there. She's done also initiatives outside of school. And then I've done my work. So we decided to combine and see what we can come up with. We just started our page called The Uplift without an I. And we just want to see what we can do with it. We want to see if we can give other people a voice like we do instead of just once a year round. We want to see what kind of social experiments we can do with the page, whether it's just going out and giving a bunch of people flowers or just setting up like a table and letting people talk and talk about whatever they want, or whether it's just small things like posting motivational quotes every day. We want to see how much we can make a change in other people's lives.
I love that. And what I will do is I'll be sure to share the handle. Could you share the IG handle again that you guys are on?
Oh yeah, it's on Instagram. It's THEUPLFT.
Yeah, I love that. It's I love that you and Emily are combining, right, and sharing your mutual, desire and passion to really help and inspire, and using social media as a platform to give that space. So that's amazing. I'll just share with you a quick little story. I love this social experiment. I didn't know that, right? And I'll share with everyone. So don't underestimate the power of simple social experiments. So in the second last year I was teaching, I sort of presented that to my fitness classes. And I had this amazing grade 11 girls fitness class. And one of their social experiments where if we smile at 50 people, if we give people smile at 50 people and give them a compliment, what will people do? And the interesting thing happened was they went around the school over a number of different weeks, like not outside their friends, and they took it upon themselves to smile and compliment 50 people because they just wanted to see what would the social experiment be. And they said the interesting thing was, and we watched the video, like 86% of people smiled, and you could just tell that it completely shifted their energy, it completely shifted their vibration, and they left these people, right, with what I refer to as that impression of increase, right? What is the impression of increase? It's just leaving people better off than when you got there. And that simple experiment was so eye-opening to me, just a simple reminder, simply smiling and saying, hey, right, how are you, right? It brightens people's days.
Exactly.
Nice.
You don't know what anybody's going through in their home life. You don't know what's going on outside of school. So you don't know the impact that you can make just by smiling at them is amazing.
Great words, Noah. Lastly, Noah, first and foremost, I just wanted to thank you for coming into the huddle today and being so open to share your journey, right? All the ups, the down, but I love the fact of it hasn't defined you, and you're ascending to even a greater level, right? So I wanted to thank you for that. And second, most importantly, I wanted to acknowledge you for you choosing to make greatness the standard in your life. I have watched you from afar. I've seen you up close. And over the last couple of years, I have really noticed you developing there's this differentness about you. Like seeing you on the football field, again, you're a big personality, right? You're a hell of a football player, a great athlete. And there's this swagger, right, about it. But I love the man I'm seeing that's in front of me now because he knows who he is, right? He knows what's important in his life, family, loved ones. And there's this different calm and confidence about you that just shows what a great place you're in. So I wanted to acknowledge you that I see you, I hear you, and I'm so proud of you for the work you're doing.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay, folks. So again, make sure if you are have any questions, Again, I've tagged Noah in here. Feel free to reach out. I will add the Instagram handle for the Uplift. You can follow Noah and Emily as they build that community. And what I would love to hear is, yeah, any feedback in the comment section below. If anything really resonated with you, share that there. I love hearing the ahas. I'm sure Noah would love to know what resonated with you. And again, it's just an opportunity, right? That's what the huddle's about. It's about giving a platform for other people to share their stories, successful people and high performers like Noah, and just using this as a platform to share and learn from each other, because success always leaves clues. Have an amazing rest of your Friday, and I will see you next week in the huddle. Have a great day, everyone.